Hello and welcome everyone to the week ahead commodity reports, where we of course will be reviewing the markets for the week ahead. Now, historically, the final stretch of the calendar between Thanksgiving to the end of the year has always been considered to be one of the biggest and most profitable periods for traders. With global inflation accelerating at the fastest pace in 3 decades, it's no surprise that commodities have now firmly positioned themselves as one of the best performing asset classes of 2021. So far this year, commodities, they have been on an unstoppable run, with everything from the metals to the energies to agriculture hitting new record highs as the super cycle continues to gather pace. There are plenty of reasons why commodities are on the move, from rapidly surging global inflation to tightening supply, logistical bottlenecks to booming demand across many highly essential commodities as world economies recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. So far this year, a long list of commodities have already surged to all-time record highs, which includes aluminium, copper, cotton, coffee, crude oil, natural gas, nickel, lithium, steel, uranium, wheat and zinc. Now, looking ahead, inflation will continue to dominate the headlines and drive markets into next week. The biggest market moving event the traders will not want to miss out on next week is the US PCE inflation data, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. PCE inflation data has now topped expectations for 11 straight months in a row. Another uptick in the headline and core readings could spark explosive moves across the markets. As labour market shortages, logistical bottlenecks and supply chain issues continue to worsen as we enter the holiday season, many economists, they expect inflation figures could leap into double digits ahead, adding further fuel to the commodities super cycle. Another major market moving event that traders will be watching very closely is President Joe Biden's pick for the next Federal Reserve chair, which is expected to be announced by Thanksgiving. The two most prominent names being discussed are Brainard, as well as the reappointment of Powell. Both candidates have very different views on the Fed's stimulus program, tapering and rate hikes. If Brainard was to be named as the Federal Reserve chair, the first move by traders would be to price in even more dovish central bank. That ultimately means the Fed could take much longer to raise interest rates or tighten policy than under Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Other key macro events that traders will be watching and have on their radar going into next week include Wednesday's FOMC minutes, the US third quarter GDP data, and personal spending figures. With the markets winding down to celebrate the US Thanksgiving holiday next week, trading activity will be thin, which does open the door up to exaggerated moves across the markets, which sets up for some incredible opportunities to generate huge gains fast. Whatever long-term goal you're looking to achieve through trading, whether that's to create a full-time income, a second or replacement income, or just to earn a better return on your savings, then now is the time to take action. Right now, you have an opportunity to finish this year on a high note, but also set yourself up to hit the ground running in 2022, which, based on our research, we predict is going to be a record-setting year due to all the macroeconomic events that are currently unfolding. Extraordinary times, they do create extraordinary opportunities. Right now, we're living in one of the most exciting and rewarding periods ever in monetary history. So if you've been kicking yourself for missing out on some of the biggest trading opportunities so far this year, you still have time to make 2021 your best year yet. So with that, let's move over to the charts and we'll talk you through exactly what we're looking at here as we head into next week. So as we discussed with you on last week's Week Ahead Commodity Report, and both gold and silver, asset of the day, our expectation was as you get towards the middle of November, and then particularly as you get closer towards Thanksgiving, contract settlement, end of month profit taking, you're going to see gold and silver and platinum pull back. So this is actually where we've capitalized, banking over 1,000 points profit on our long from 1,727 US dollars per ounce here on gold in anticipation of a correction lower. Last week we also banked 1,150 points on our platinum trade before we started to see it break down later on in the week, and also on palladium we banked over 4,000 points of profit over 2 trades last week, really taking advantage of the breakout that we've seen back to 2-month highs here, banking in strength and locking in those profits before we get that subsequent pullback as we go into Thanksgiving, which also sets up for some great opportunities. Not only that, we've also managed to bank over 800 points on natural gas last week, and we've been in and out of crude oil last week several times, banking over 150 points profit on our long position. This is a market which I would also definitely have on the radar going into next week. And we've also banked over 100 points here on copper too, which had a lovely slingshot move higher on Thursday through to Friday. So first of all, let's just take it back to gold here. Again, as we mentioned on the week ahead report, our anticipation is that we will slowly start to pull back as we get towards Thanksgiving, and this will offer some great opportunities then as we transition into the end of the month, into December, to build out further positions on this market. So that's definitely taking place. We've seen gold prices that have broken down over 1% in the last week. We've also got that happening now with silver. As we mentioned to you, this time of year, typically for silver, it is under pressure as you get into the middle of November, right the way through to the end of the month. Silver already broke down 3% in the last week. I would be looking for slowly but surely more downside over the next week here. Again, this is a time of year where many traders, they're getting FOMO. They've seen the breakout on metals. They haven't been early like we have, buying gold at 1,727 US dollars per ounce, buying platinum down here at 947 US dollars per ounce, buying palladium at 1,880 US dollars per ounce. Essentially, they've been very late buying into the moves much later, and then they end up getting trapped by buying too high with delayed confirmation, only again to see the price roll over as we get towards the end of November, which is very common, as we've been talking you through multiple times around Thanksgiving, to get this pullback, which we've definitely seen. Platinum is now down 5% in the last week. It's leading this sell-off to the downside. So you've been able to hopefully capitalize on these moves, banking into strength. And now what we're looking at as we head into the next week here is potential for more weakness, which sets up for some lovely opportunities at the end of November and as we then move into December as well. So let me then just summarize that for you. Over the next week and a half or so, typically copper is a strong mover. We've capitalized on this. We've got a number of trades on copper which have moved nicely into profit here, especially over Thursday and through to Friday. So we want to take advantage of this momentum with copper over this cycle. That's also been the same with palladium, but we've now banked the majority of our profits, over 4,000 points on this market over the last week here. Platinum as well, we're looking for more downward pressure in the short term. That's the same with silver. That is the same with gold as well. Then moving over to natural gas, we've been in and out of this market several times over the last month, again banking 800 points last week. Then I would transition over to crude oil, which is now trading all the way back down at 75 US dollars per barrel. I would not expect the price to stay at these lows for very long here, especially at this time of year. Then once we transition into December, but again, you want to be careful with your timing on this market. Make sure that you're nimble when you're getting into crude oil. You're seeing these very quick bounces which enable you very quickly to also capitalize with slingshot moves higher, but also make sure that you're regularly locking in those profits. But again, I'm not expecting crude oil to be sat for long here between 75 down to 70 US dollars per barrel, not at this time of year. So that's another market that you definitely want to be taking advantage of. So again, this time of year going into next week, as you transition into Thanksgiving, this is often a time of year where you've got thinner liquidity in the market, exaggerated moves which can set up for some really big opportunities, particularly for you to capitalize on the end of month move that you often get on commodities over the month of December, which can be an immense move that you do not want to miss out on right the way through into Q1 and Q2 of 2022. As you know, commodities, they don't just move up in a straight line, they zigzag, and that really presents you with back-to-back opportunities to capitalize on that short-term macro-driven volatility. If you want to maximize your money-making potential and thrive, not just survive in these fast-moving markets, you need to adapt your strategy to the current market conditions and, most importantly, utilize a professional, research-driven approach. In these times of heightened volatility and rapidly surging inflation, the importance of having an essential income-generating skill like trading, it has become a must-have necessity. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that you should never rely on just one income stream. Building multiple streams of income, it's no longer just an option, it's a priority to make sure that you're inflation-proof and that you can thrive in this highly lucrative climate, not just survive. If you want to gain the ultimate edge to really supercharge your wealth in these fast-moving markets and highly profitable markets, you need to make sure that you're trading like the hedge funds, the money managers, institutions, utilizing a professional, research-driven approach. Having access to the right data at the right time is the single greatest difference between ordinary and extraordinary results. The greater your data and intelligence, the greater your edge in navigating these fast-moving markets with precision, accuracy, and the highest levels of profitability. way. Trading like every other misguided retail trader out there, using outdated technical analysis and gimmicky technical indicators will not work, and you're guaranteed to get crushed and chopped up in these markets. You want to be utilizing a research-driven approach to the market, utilizing statistics, data, market intelligence, understanding of capital flows in the market, the intermarket correlations, the ratios, key areas of liquidity, the sentiment in the market, learning the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly cycles for each commodity, the key news items which will have the biggest impact for each commodity, where you can take advantage of impulse moves to generate gains extremely fast, and alongside that, learn and understand how the hedge funds, money managers, banks and institutions are positioned in the market. That will help you massively to get an edge. So with that, if you would like to join our community of successful traders, learn the research-driven approach to the market, and join our professional mentorship program, there is an opportunity for you to do so. As a member, you get access to our exclusive live trading room webinars. You get access to real-time trade ideas, institutional research and market intelligence, access to our private Members Academy website, and also support and one-to-one mentoring. For more information, just go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. The link is also below this report in the description, so just click on the link, make an application, and we will of course get in touch with you ASAP. And do make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that way you're always kept updated with all of the latest commodity reports.